I am not going to comment on the sexual assault case of Virginia and Giuffre, but I am more than familiar with the nature of Western family courts that have destroyed my life, abused my children and scarred them, and pushed thousands into suicide. I have had a very hard life of childhood abuse, a war in my country, penury, sexual assaults, being conned, tricked, lied to, betrayed, and I've gone through it all on my own, completely alone. But nothing compares to the atrocities of Western family courts that are largely corrupt, abide by no laws, so anarchic, that are fiercely against family life, fidelity, truthfulness, morality, human decency, any basic probity, against human rights, against children, and fiercely against God. Like I have documented in my videos on this page, I was severely abused by my ex-husband in the UK, who virtually human trafficked me into a marriage, hiding many long-term lovers in the background, depriving me of sufficient food, rest, sleep when pregnant, who forced me to go to the gym with 40 degrees centigrade temperature. He himself went out daily and disappeared for days on end with many mistresses. I was like a single mother to our baby son. My abuser threatened me that if I filed for a divorce, he'd bribe the court and take the baby away from me. He also did not let me work on my projects, but would simply rip them up. When urged by my doctors and even my lovely in-laws, I filed for a divorce. The monster filed for the custody of our 2-year-old son. The child he had hardly ever done anything with, or certainly had never done anything for. And dodgy family court staff, then almost certainly, I strongly believe, truly bribed by him, tortured us almost to death. My baby was ripped away from me on fabricated judgments, and Kafkas, some quasi-child experts who are anything but, report on over 100 pieces of perjury and gross defamation of me, both by my abuser and all the court staff, with the help of my own solicitor, who deliberately withheld many legal avenues to protect my child and me, again I believe for hefty bribe from my abuser, and was given to the monster, who immediately, literally the day after he got custody, dumped the toddler, now severely depressed and gaunt, having been torn away from me, on strangers or whoever he could find. And he worked straight after the custody battle win, and then lived abroad. He even laughed his head off at our son's depression and tears, something that haunts me almost daily to this very day. My son grew up like an orphan, pleading with me not to let him go back to strangers. Straight after I lost custody, a couple, a man and a young woman, turned up in court and practically ordered me to forgo my due divorce settlement and private pension that I was and still am legally entitled to. They threatened me that I may never see my toddler again if I did not sign it off, almost certainly for bribe too, I strongly believe, and not only me, but dozens. To this very day, 22 years on, I'm still not allowed to know the names of the couple, the criminals, who stole my money, my livelihood, a few meters away from the judge's room in court itself, in Buckinghamshire, in England. And I am not allowed to know whether they are legal professionals. It can be anyone, part of some corruption racket, in the opinion of many. Scores of senior judges have tried to gag me and stop me, and have thrown my case out, and have not allowed me to know the names of the swine. The couple, whether they were a father and a daughter, father was teaching his daughter how to be corrupt and abuse children for money, literally, threatened me with me possibly never seeing my depressed toddler again if I did not sign the money off. Almost certainly, I believe, for bribe too, like everyone else before them. It was terrifying. I couldn't believe I was in England. I was on the verge of life and so overwhelmed by the criminality that I wanted to die. They had taken everything away from me and were torturing my young child horribly. It is something I still have not come to terms with, what they did to that little boy in order to, in my opinion, take bribe. Virtually, many believed that it was a child sale for cash. One of the main judges who staged the case and fabricated a lot in his judgment and didn't allow me to mention the abuse or anything, but just talked gibberish. And I later found out that he was not even a family court judge at the time, but a senior criminal court judge, and had never worked in our family court in our town. So scores of solicitors who saw the case said to me, "What on earth was he doing on your case?" Shall we guess what he was doing there? I had to cancel all my courses that I'd planned to attend, like a university course to finish my university degree that my monster had not allowed me to do, an IT course. When my son was with me, clinging onto me in depression, we struggled to have proper heating, quality food, and I did not even have a Hoover for many months, but picked rubbish off the floor by hand, and was left all alone in the world, childless and penniless, while I believed the bribing scum, my ex, bought a house, a brand new car, for cash, our divorce money, my money, went on holidays and laughed that only morons pay anything to a woman. This is how intelligent men get divorced. I then learned I was one of estimated, according to some academics, 10 million devoted mothers in the West who have so far lost custody to serious abusers, even pedophiles, in Western family courts, where apparently top judges, male and female alike, I have to emphasize that, privately collude to set torturing trends and allow male sociopaths to thrive and face no consequences, likely to protect each other, the likes of themselves. I have read dozens of thousands of stories from this earthly dystopia, stories of incarcerations of destroyed mothers for crimes of texting their children, mothers losing custody of their children on paper to their abusers, but in reality to their mistresses, and then having all contact with their children banned so that the home wreckers can take over the mothering. Once highly successful mothers being homeless and sleeping in their cars, having lost all their money and jobs due to depression of not seeing their babies for many years, maternal grandparents being made bankrupt by paying for their daughters' futile custody battles, older children restarting wetting their beds and pulling eyebrows and hair while needing therapy and medication due to being ripped away from their primary carer and given to the scum who are not even for marriage and children, yet do so in order to cause carnage, and so on. Hell on earth of human rights abuses and extreme child abuse. I also learned that thousands of global academics, lawyers, journalists of integrity, decency, conscience, and valor have been trying to expose and stop these crimes for over 60 years now, and many of them have been sacked. You can find a list of a couple of thousand of them, I believe, in one of my videos. They are from all over the world. Amazing people. There are no genuine complaints procedures or any supervision and accountability. I learned that large numbers of battered, abused mothers, many likely victims of family court corruption on top of it, have died by suicide. All the whistleblowers are apparently sacked, including good, proper judges, and all the victims, including the bereft families of those who have passed, and the media are gagged. All foreign embassies are apparently also familiar with this, had been for decades. Even the police are not allowed to act, no matter what evidence you provide for the criminalities, like I did. Dozens of documentary pieces of evidence for all sorts of frauds and perjury by so many of them in our case. Documentary evidence from the police, even the social services, hospitals, council, you name it. Still, the police were not allowed to act. Evidence for criminality is in front of them, and the police are nobodies in the shadow of the crimes of the elites. As, quote, senior judges are more powerful than us as they are independent judiciary. Independent to do whatever they like to whoever they like, and likely sell children for cash before stealing money from their bereft mothers? How low can one go? Steal money from battered women who lived virtually in prisons in their homes for years? Is that why Western judiciaries are independent? This is an open secret at the UN and other global agencies among all the politicians, Western but also global in general. Western politicians, many of whom very happily appease the elites in order to be co-opted by them and in order to get super lucrative post-tenure speeches, connections, and for their own children to get into top global riches and power, meaning those who are destroyed or die as a result of their parents' inaction and cowardice and greed, are in a way sacrificial lamb. Blood needs to be shed by them so that those corrupt semi-humans at the top can become even richer. What a life that is. This is not mere male to female misogyny, but psychotic, sadistic torture of good mothers by deviant, corrupt abusers of power, both male and female, who very happily abet them for reaching apex legal positions and monetary riches, but also who enjoy destroying fellow women they are fiercely jealous of for one reason or another. How do you torture a woman to death? You remove her children from her, and in many cases you ban all contact between her and her children so that you break the bond. The savage act analogous to deliberate severance of the limbs from a person, so that that person is officially alive but virtually dead. Something you absolutely love to see in the object of your female bitchiness, coupled with an innate sadistic streak. You cause child bereavement with your criminality and the opposite of what you are paid by the taxpayer to do. And if you're lucky, left on the verge of life, the woman may even fall off the cliff that you push her onto, and you end up feeling like God, feeling powerful and shameless. So many around you are doing it, that makes it right. In reality, the Satan inhibits your sick heart and mind, and you have achieved nothing career-wise, but you've perched yourself on the path to eternal hell, rather. And you reward the monster, the abuser, who applied for custody in the first place, with the sole aim, in most cases, of getting the victim to pay them child maintenance instead of vice versa. That is what sociopaths do. While I don't know anything about Virginia's case, I hope her children learn about the secret world of venality, psychopathy, Satanism, and abuse of power on genocidal levels before deducing on the true reality of their loss.